Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
Welcome to the Sisters-in-Laws podcast, a faith-based podcast that spotlights Black women that replace silence with storytelling around pregnancy and infant loss and infertility. Black women experience miscarriage and stillbirth 4 to 5 times more likely than white women in the United States, according to the CDC and NIH. Whether you've experienced a miscarriage, infant loss, or stillbirth, are trying to conceive, or have an infertility diagnosis, you will learn about resources and strategies to heal, gain clarity, peace, and hope, and find an empowering path forward after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. Freeman, and you'll hear me interview other sisters-in-laws from around the world who have healed from such a painful and traumatic experience by sharing their testimonies and stories to inspire and help others turn their pain into their purpose. Storytelling is powerful. Storytelling is activism. Storytelling is healing. Now let's get started. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
Yes, I'm well. I would love for you to introduce yourself, share a little bit about what you do, and about yourself and where you're located.
Got you. So my name is Ariane Randolph. I also go by Oyere. So if somebody sees that in the title, that's what that is, Oyere. It's a tree name, and it means white. That's part of my African name. So, but either one is fine. And I am, like I said, I'm a wife of, I think it's been 16 years now, mother of 7. So to be talking about 2 of those babies today, and located in Northeast Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, and Jacksonville area. And I am the author of Melanoid Breast Milk. It's a book written about breastfeeding, advocacy for Black families, just promoting breastfeeding. So I do a lot of breastfeeding advocacy work, and also investing in the foreign exchange market, cryptocurrency. We are also homeschoolers, and we were homeschooling pre-COVID. So just well into a nice rhythm there with homeschooling or / unschooling. And it's always looking for ways to get liberated, learn more, and, really just, be on a growth process. That's about it.
Love it. But obviously you have a journey to motherhood that I would love for you to share. So take us back on that journey and share with us your love story.
So first off, let me start here. I am not a fan of the word loss. I really don't like it at all. So for me, here's why I don't like it. In 2020, so out of my 7 children, 5 of them, technically 4 of them are here in this physical realm with us. The middle child, who is now 11, he sunset in 2020 of January. So again, some people say transition, passed away. So I use the term sunset. So because that experience has been a part of our existence up until this point, I've really become disassociated with the word loss, because I know exactly where he is. I'm very, very intimate with his ascension process. The whole family's been involved in that. And his living in the spirit realm is just as physical to me, to this microphone right here. So that's my perspective and perception of loss. So with that, when it comes to the other pregnancies, I'll say those babies are in the spirit realm with Azan. Or I'll say, they sunset. I'll use that same reference. So, but I definitely understand the context. I definitely understand or overstand why people use that term. It's just not my favorite word to affirm. So basically, really, I have two of them. They were back to back. So I call those babies the babies of the summer solstice. It happened in June, around the summer solstice time. And really, it was within the past 2 years. So I don't really know if it was just heavy grief or just my body saying, hey, you're not ready. Because this was pregnancy number 6 and 7 for me. Or if those babies were saying, hey, we really have work to do in the spirit realm and we're not coming through just yet. We believe that when any of our children come through, that's an ancestor returning. So they're returning because they have work that needs to be done. So really, from a conceptual standpoint, that's how I summed it up. But the overall experiences were pretty much similar, wherein that I got the signs from my body that the pregnancies wasn't going to continue, just in a sign of a bleeding. Thankfully, it wasn't a bleeding that was put me at risk where I had to go to the hospital, anything like that. So I chose to do a natural birth of those babies, processing both times. Now that's interesting because I did have a midwife both times, and it was a very conscious choice. Some of the, I say, more traditional trained nurses in the family just automatically thought, oh yeah, so you're going to do a DNC. And I was like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. And that was an interesting experience of having to think it's normal for everybody to understand that natural process of letting my body birth baby. And then also realizing that I still had a birth, that I still had a postpartum body, that all the things were pretty much the same, except thankfully, again, I didn't have any pain. I didn't have any cramps or anything like that. The second time I was a little further along. So there was a little bit more a baby there. And the one thing that I wasn't sure about, that my midwife really helped to say, hey, what's normal? Like, how much blood is normal? How much of this is normal? So once I was okay with knowing what was normal, I really let my body do the process both times. Like I said, the second time, it was a little bit more, it felt a little bit more like labor, but without the pain. And because I had all the other pregnancies naturally, I was aware of like what it feels like, what muscles to use, all these kinds of things. So I was thankful that I was able to do it at home. Again, technically still have home births, have it naturally, not have to go to the hospital, not have somebody digging in, sucking out my insides and all these kinds of things, and was able to keep parts of those babies and then return them back to the earth. Like, I was really thankful for that process, and I did not take it for granted at all. Had a lot of reverence for that process. I chose to name the babies. I chose to honor their purpose, just like I do with my other children. Like, so me wanting them to live for their purpose is no different because they're in the spirit realm. And so really that's my take on it. Like, I have bracelets that I wear for them. The white bracelets are for them. The blue one is for my other son who came through this realm. And then the other 4 are for the children that are still here. So, and I'm even comfortable now saying, oh, I'm a mother of 7. Where somebody before might be like, well, yeah, I know you only had 5 kids. Well, actually I have. So it is a way to share in a way that somebody may not be necessarily expecting. And then they'll say, oh, I didn't know. I was like, I know you didn't know until so it's that kind of thing. But
I love that. And I love that that's how you started it. It was saying that you're a mom of 7, because I don't think when people hear that, they're like, oh my goodness, like, oh, where are all your kids? Mm-hmm. And then obviously it leads to more conversation of exactly, your kids that are here earthside and the ones that are, elsewhere, that are ancestors that are looking down on us. So I love that. And I love how you define loss, because I think that using the term sunset is so key. Like when you really explained it, I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I love the way that you kind of redefine what loss is and use the word sunset instead. So that's awesome. Mm-hmm. What people don't always talk about, that I think that's something else that you shared, is that when we think about the experiences of miscarriage, is that every loss is a birth, and you still have to go through the birthing process. Mm-hmm. You still have to go through postpartum. Like your body's still going through all of that. And, we have the ability and the capability to actually give birth without any surgical or medical interventions in those situations. But obviously, for many of us, they put those situations on us and not give us the option to say, hey, that this is a viable option for you. These are the signs and things that you need to look for. These are the things that could happen in those situations if you do give birth at home versus, signing up for a medical procedure. Now, obviously, everyone does what's best for them and what they're comfortable with, but a lot of folks aren't even given the option. So I'm happy that you were able to advocate for yourself and say, hey, no, I don't want that. I think I just want to do this at home with the support of a midwife and be able to go through this experience and really understand exactly what I need to do under the care of someone else who's designed to care for the whole body, compared to being a part of the medical system, where we know in our healthcare system it has failed Black moms and babies and continues to fail us. So I'm happy that you took control over that for yourself, because everyone, like I said, can make the decision on their own, but to be given the option, it's like, give me the option to make the decision. Don't just throw this one surgical procedure on me. Like, give me the option.
I just kind of took that option because, one, I knew it was available. And second, I just kind of, once I asked her the questions like, okay, here's what's happening. Here's the thing, what's going on. And I was like, and this was the first time it was closer to COVID just happening. So I didn't really want to go in the hospital. The second time we was kind of like, kind of where we are now, kind of seeing what it looks like, know what to expect. Also too, the first time I was also breastfeeding. And because I was breastfeeding, I was breastfeeding my toddler. She was 3 at the time. Yeah, she was 3. And so because I was breastfeeding, that helped me out, wherein that, like when milk is released, it helps, everything open and close and all that kind of good stuff. So it really helped the process move quite quickly. And the second time I had already stopped. Like I had just weaned. I think she was like 4.5 the second time. And so this time I had to use my midwife sent me some tea. And I used the tea, and it was a process. Like, it don't just happen one time. It took about a good 12 days, maybe, for the whole process, for my body to go through the whole process. So it was some differences there in paying attention to, like, oh, that oxytocin from the breastfeeding and all those things was helping out. And then, like I said, the second time, not really having that process to help me. In both ways, even from a grieving standpoint, the oxytocin is there to help. But the second time I really had that. And so I was really thankful for the tea and how it worked and how it even smelled and all these kinds of little things that I guess one might think in that process of realizing, oh, I'm not going to be having a human on the other side of this. They're going to be that I'm really was still trying to find gratitude in those little things. I mean, like, she overnighted the tea. We had FaceTime. We had all these other things. And it lent for a very, again, spiritual process that I didn't know I would have this much respect for. at the time, because I also have 3 daughters. And I'm like, who knows? I may have to got my daughters in this one day, or a sister friend or somebody like that. And so I was like, I've had all these other mommy experiences. I have to welcome and embrace what this means. So.
Absolutely. And I love that. It's almost like it was a sensory experience for you. Were you able to really be in tune with your body as your body was going through that postpartum, but also be able to heal in a sense as well. Mm-hmm. So I would love for you to talk a little bit more about that, like your journey towards healing through grief. Like, how have you navigated through grief through your sunset experiences? Because I think that it seems like, you have really tapped into your spiritual being, and that has really grounded you. Mm-hmm. And I would love for you to share more about that.
Okay. So as a family unit, we have been very, very just blessed to be able to learn about African spiritual systems or lifestyles. And so that has really helped us just move along, just grief period, because we, there's so many things to grieve from, just from like being Black in America. You could find a whole list. So really, when our son sunset, it really like forced us to say, okay, what don't you know? And if you don't know it, who knows it, and what should you do? So with those doing actions came like setting up our ancestors table, having all the pictures of the ancestors. And when I say ancestors, I mean in our bloodline. So like grandparents, great-grandparents, any great that we could think of, we have them there. We have our plants there. So they're all there. My son is there. He has his own. And this became important during these times because, like, for example, we also celebrated the conception differently. So like in the other 5 pregnancies, and again, as Black women, you're really not even taught sometimes to honor your conceptions and your pregnancy. It's like everybody else, every other culture in the world kind of gets to do that. But it's a stigma that still kind of lingers on Black women and mothering, because I think unconsciously that breeder mentality is still kind of placed on the world. So even if you're married and you're having children, sometimes it's like, if you on baby number 4, it's like, oh, you having another one kind of thing, versus, oh, wow, even, hey, let's celebrate the conception. Let's do this.
Hey, sisters. Wanted to pause quickly for an update from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Did you know that you can get affordable private therapy anytime, anywhere? BetterHelp can help you match you with the right therapist, particularly for therapists of color that are in your area, for yourself, your partner, or even other teens in your home. Let's help match you with the right therapist by using our offer code with BetterHelp. Sisters-in-law listeners get 10% off your first month with using the offer code betterhelp.com/sisters. So for those of you who are listening and looking for affordable private therapy anytime, anywhere, use the code SISTERS to get 10% off your first month. That is betterhelp.com/sisters, and join the Sisters-in-Laws community and the listeners all over the world who are using this affordable private therapy with BetterHelp. Once again, that's betterhelp.com/sisters to get 10% off. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's podcast.
So just using our ancestry table was one. Looking at, again, welcoming spirit home. And then I have self-healing power and therapy, which is another one of my favorite. And in this book is the concept of sunrise and sunset. That was part of the healing process. Doing art therapy, that we were already doing these things. Meaning, like, so because we're homeschooled, I would find ways that I can incorporate art into the lesson. And then I would find that we would just be talking or reminiscing or whatever. And even when it came to explaining to the children why mommy's bleeding, why I'm bleeding so much, and it's not my moon cycle. These kinds of things that I can say, hey, this is the baby, this is the process, this baby is sunsetting, so they already had the language. And then that language helped with the healing. Again, making these bracelets. And these are like spiritual concepts that we learned. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to make a bracelet for these babies. I asked if anybody else wanted to be in on the naming of the babies. They said, no, mama, you could do it. So once I gave them a name, I let everybody know that, this is baby number 1 from that first summer. This is their name. This is baby number 2 name. So when I'm writing out my gratitude and I'm giving thanks for all of them, I just do it in the order that they were born, basically. And so again, that becomes part of the healing process because I do that gratitude every day. And then I'm doing 5 things that I'm grateful for that have already happened, which the children come into that 5 things that have already happened. And then I'm writing 5 things that haven't happened yet. So it could just be like a goal, aspiration, but I'm writing it in the present tense, like it's already happened. So I'm writing that every single day. Again, even just saying in the birth world, if I say, well, yeah, I'm a mother of 7, that is a healing. Just being it, because I didn't say that right at first. Like it took some time to just say it or put it on my page, like being part of the breastfeeding advocacy. People always ask, yeah, so you breastfed, how many children got? And I'm like, yeah, so I have 7 kids. Before I would say I have 5. So all of those things are part of healing.
Yes, I love the gratitude and I love being able, it's almost like you're affirming yourself. You're willing it. You're speaking it into existence by writing those down. Oh, those are all good ways to help in general, but definitely for your healing from your sunset experiences. I would love for you to talk a lot more about postpartum and breastfeeding. Something that we don't really talk about in the loss community in general is how much our bodies are still going through postpartum.
Right.
I would even argue, which a lot of doulas do argue this, is that postpartum is forever, right? Like it is forever, no matter your experiences, no matter when you give birth in any gestational age, postpartum is forever. And a part of postpartum is a lot of what you do is really the lactation and advocacy work around breastfeeding, chest feeding, ensuring that a lot of Black women and Black birthing people have the ability and the accessibility to learn how to lactate properly, learn how to breastfeed. So I would love for you to talk about just your own personal experience with breastfeeding and chest feeding, but also how can we really get folks really engaged around it, especially in this lost community, because I don't think people really talk about it.
Right. So as far as my own personal experiences, my oldest is 15 years old. So my experience goes back 15 years. I breastfed every single one of them. And the first 3, I went for like over a year. At the time, I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Like, oh, once they get 1, you kind of start weaning them because that's kind of what people say. They give you the eye, like, you still got that baby on the breast, whatever. Once I got to like baby number 4, between 4 and 5 is when I started writing a book, doing research, had worked at WIC. Then I started all that kind of good stuff. So that fast forwarded me into this education realm of like, wait, so the worldwide average is 4.5. Oh, so they tripping over here. Like, so now I'm on a whole new thing. The 4th baby, I went to 3. And then the last one, I went to 4.5. Now, even with hers, I learned so much. I thought I was going to wean her at 3 when we went on a trip when my son sunset. But because he sunset and I came back, we came back from the trip. It happened while we was away, going away. So when we came back, I was like, whoa, this is way heavy. There's no way I can yank her off the breast now. We got other things to deal with as a family. So I kept going. That's how I ended up going another 1.5 years to 4.5. And that's how I had the experience with the first one of breastfeeding with the first sunset process. And so really with that, it was really hindsight. I was able to look back and see how one, I was breastfeeding another child while I had that happen and how it was beneficial. Secondly, I also was able to see that when you start to breastfeed a toddler is different from a newborn and an infant and all of that. And it's different socially. And also I was like, okay, well, we in this pandemic, whatever you want to call it, I may as well keep breastfeeding it anyway, just for protection. So then I started to be like, okay, there's no rush. I'm at the house working. They're homeschooled. Why am I rushing? So that was my thought process on that. When it comes to just being in a fourth trimester is what I like to really call postpartum. And when a mom and a family experiences a sunset with a baby who stays in the spirit realm, it's really, really critical. So a couple things are at play. Depending on how far along they are, they may have milk. They may be lactating. And they could do a couple things. They could pump. They could hand express. If they chose to hand express and we know there's no baby in the physical realm, here would be the benefits. The benefits would be, even if it's just a little bit, one, it's going to increase their oxytocin. It's going to make them feel better. Secondly, it's going to help their uterus contract to go back to a normal size. So to put this in context, meaning like, I know I really have telling my body to release milk. I know there's no baby, my baby, to give it to, unless they have other children. If they have other children, they can save it and give it to them. They don't even have to give it to them. They can save it in case that baby gets sick. If they get the pink eye, they also could milk share. Like, let's just say they got a lot and they really, really far along, and they have a lot. They could milk share with another family. It's just a ton of things. They could make soap with it. They can make, it's like you could Google 101 uses for breast milk and they can find a slew of things to do with it. But the bottom line is really, it's going to increase their oxytocin and it's going to make them feel better. And make them heal faster. So even if they just did it for that, like they could pump it and put it in a plant. That's another thing that they could do. So that way it's in the house, the energy stays there. It's the energy from baby. And really, it's like a win-win. Some people may say, oh man, it's going to give them reminders of what happened. And me, I kind of say that's not a bad thing, but I know everybody has a different take on it. But because they want to give their body, help their body heal, it really would be one of the top benefits whatsoever. Again, if they have other toddlers in the house or children in the house, it's just like added bonus. Like I have breast milk in my freezer right now. If I had to pop that out, put it in somebody's oatmeal or put it in somebody's hey, take a little bit of this, if they got a little something. About, I think maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, one of my kids was with somebody else. They went to a doctor's appointment. They was watching them during the day. And this is when I used to work outside of the home. And then they got pink eye. And my son came home. I was like, come on. I put some breast milk in his eye. He was cleared up in 2 hours. No antibiotics, no ointments, no nothing. I put that stuff in his eye, like maybe a couple drops for the rest of the day. Just a little extra. He was fine. So, and then as far as the postpartum body, you have to treat it the same. So you got to give it like the same nutrition. You have to go easy if you're exercising. Start with slow walks. You have to be very gentle to your womb area, your give it massages, all these things. And then if there's a partner involved, talk to the partner about these kinds of things. You don't want to jump back into intimacy really fast. I know for us, we had to give ourselves permission to learn how to be in a happy space intimately and say, it's okay to feel good and to feel nice and to feel sexy and to feel all these things that you're kind of like, because sometimes even when you breastfeed and the children and everything goes well, we forget how they got here. Like, we just mommy it up so fast. And then we look at a hot mess. We feeling a hot mess. And it can be like 10 times worse when you've been either wanting that baby or you've accepted that you're going to have that baby. And then, oops, baby stays in spirit realm. now it's like, dang, I'm coming out of this, I don't even have no baby. So you gotta find the things that's going to show the positive, like I said, have your partner involved so that they understand and understand what you're feeling, and they're likely grieving as well. So it's a really family process, because like even for us, we had to tell the kids, we had to talk about it. We had to have everybody included.
Yes, and I love that, because I think that being able to include your kids, it also normalizes sunset experiences, because they're going to happen as they continue to grow and go through life, right? But also what it does is it recognizes that they do have someone in that spiritual realm that is going to be there to guide them and be there with them. And I don't know, for a lot of people, for a lot of kids, particularly, I don't know the ages of your kids, knowing for them to know where their sibling is or have some understanding of that helps really normalize the situation, to say that this is something that happens daily, and being able to talk about it and put reference to it is key when it comes to experiencing those sunset experiences. So I love everything that you talked about with the lactating stuff. I mean, you just hit the nail. You hit it. This is how I know you're an educator. You're like, you hit everything. Like, this is how I know. This is why I asked you that question, because I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna hit everything.
Okay.
She's gonna hit it all. Good. So I absolutely love it. So I would love to know more about your books and your work, and how people can connect with you really after this episode.
Gotcha. So real quick, I'll tell you the ages of the children, just if somebody else has children these ages, they can identify. So my oldest is 15. The next one is 13, Azan. That's the one who's in the spirit realm with the babies. He is 11 now. And so we just so this is a quick sidebar. We just age him as he has a birthday.
As his birthday comes.
Exactly. Because
I absolutely love that. I think that's a good, I don't think people think about that too, because I do the same. So this will be 10 years in November for my son. Okay. And I say the same thing. Like, I've been a mother for 10 years. And they're like, huh? I'm like, yeah, I have. y'all didn't carry that child. Right. Like, you didn't carry that child. I've been a mother for 10 years, even though my living child is only 7. Like, I've still been a mother for 10 years.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so okay. Yeah.
So we understand. Yes, we understand how to normalize it. But yeah, go continue. I'm just jumping in because
that's okay. I feel that thing. Yeah. So Zon's 11. The next one that's here is 8, and then my little one is 5. And so they all are aware that, like, okay, so that 5-year-old was 3 when Zon, so she's been like 3, 4, and 5 doing these experiences. And so because of that, she is the closest to all of the ancestors, the younger ones, as well as our older ancestors. And so there are times when she'll say, this one's down here, because we have an upstairs and downstairs. So she'll say, yeah, this one's down here. Oh yeah, I'm playing with so-and-so, and I'm playing with, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then that's just that. And we just keep it moving. So that's how we normalize that. But as far as people finding me and wanting to share or connect or what have you, I'm on Instagram at Melanoid Breast Milk. And they can, I have a couple copies of my book if they want to get that. And they want a signed copy, they can just send me a message directly on Instagram. If they want to get like the digital Kindle, I am on Amazon as well. So if you're international, you can grab it off of Amazon in both formats. And then I'm going to be recording the audio version of the book. So it should be out within like the next couple months or so. So I'm going to be recording the audio version, and then I'm working on a podcast as well for mothers who want to share their story. Anybody, and it doesn't matter if they're breastfeeding now, or if they're breastfed before, or if they know somebody, like they don't have to be a breastfeeding person. Like I even had a male nurse. He's amazing. What's his name? Like, I think he's like Morris Chef or something like, but anyways, he's cool. He was reading my book. He wanted to learn about, birth support and these kinds of things. And he was like, yeah, I found your book. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter. Daddies, aunties, grandmothers, anybody, you know, is going to be welcome to share. And I would love for you to come on there and share as well. So I'm going to be getting that going soon. But yeah, those are some of the things I'm working on. I'm also working on breastfeeding well into toddlerhood because I've had that experience. And I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. And I'm also looking into breastfeeding and breast cancer as it relates to Black women. So I'm doing research on that and just figuring out where we are in that space and thinking about adding like a breast cancer prevention class. We're also a plant-based family. So I've had 2 plant-based pregnancies. And so sometimes I forget about it because I've been doing it for so long. And then somebody will say, like, we had an experience in West Palm where we were able to go to a real farm to table experience. And the ladies were out there eating. And they was like, so your kids are plant-based? I was like, they don't have a choice. They're going to eat. So I thought about it and I was like, so I'm going to be doing something with that, sharing about families who want to eat more decolonized or breastfeeding plant-based and pregnancy that's plant-based, even healing from a sunset loss experience and you're plant-based, you know, what's some good foods? What do? You know, all these kinds of things. So those are some of the things I'm working on and I'm always open to taking feedback. I'm going to be doing like a mommy circle, kind of sister circle, kind of share where people can come and just say, hey, I had a question, or I just want to vent, I just want to share, or that kind of thing too. So yeah, IG's the place.
Love it. No, I love it. That's the reason why I wanted you to share what you were working on. Because I was like, I know she got some good stuff in the mix. And we'll make sure we link everything in the show notes in the description box so you all can go give her a follow. But lastly, my last question is just what encouraging words do you have for those listeners, those who are watching this YouTube channel on there as they navigate through their sunset experiences?
Really? My first experience when it happened, the first thing that came to mind for me was because it was so fresh. It was during 2020. It was real close to my son's sunset. I mean, it was like within months. So I felt the kind of way with the universe on that. I was like, really? So I was like tripping off of that. But once I said, okay, let me be grateful for the conception. So I just started with the conception first. I was really, really grateful for that. Once we came up to knowing, hey, this baby is staying in the spirit realm. And we were dealing with that. And we had the visual signs of the body doing its process. The first thing I thought about was, wow, okay. I felt more connected with my ancestral mothers. And these was mothers not in my bloodline. So mothers that may have come through the transatlantic enslavement period, mothers that may have been, even women incarcerated. Like I was thinking about all these women who didn't have the choice to choose what to do next. I thought about them when it was like, okay, well, what you gonna do? Your body's in the process. I was in my kitchen. I was thankful that I could be in my kitchen and nobody was like here, like telling me what to do. And really, I was like, you get to choose to experience this how you want it to. And that was my first thing, was honoring that choice and being thankful that I had a choice and saying, okay, now you're healthy. You're not at risk. You're still in a safe space. So then I was thankful for that. So really gratitude was just the thing. And not to say there was like no breakdown moments, because there wasn't but it wasn't a lot of them. It was like I was still able to function. I was still able to cook and do the laundry and sit down when I needed to sit down and say, hey, I need help right now. And I was thankful to be able to do those things. And so I would tell people to have like as much gratitude as you can. Whoever their higher power is, whatever, people believe in, have that present. Eventually I journaled about it. I didn't right away. but eventually I did. That's how I even came to realize that they happened around the same time. And I came to say, hey, these are my babies of the summer solstice. Likely, eventually I'll probably write about it. So that's what's been helpful for me. But as much, one thing I know about pregnancies and conception, like thousands of things have to go right simultaneously, like thousands. And so just to have had the experience of 5 children in the spirit realm, the physical realm, I'm just like, my cup runneth over. So I was like, okay, the universe needed me to have those 2 experiences because I had never had them before. I didn't have the same empathies. I didn't have the same concepts. It's easy to say, well, yeah, I could do this, but that's low frequency. So I was like, okay, I got to be embracing of what this means and not shun it off as just some kind of, weird thing. And I was thankful that my body did what it was supposed to do. Once the universe had said, no, these babies are going to be here, my body did what it was supposed to do. It did not release like it was supposed to. And really being aware of these things, if people are in a place to advocate for themselves, I would encourage them to do that. I've shared some of the language that can be used for that advocacy. If they don't know, there's tons of resources of people to reach out to say. And this is, again, a slight sidebar too, but I was even thinking about people who I know who make the kits for when you're birthing at home and you're expecting a live birth. I was like, wow, there needs to be like some kind of kit for when you choose to have a sunset birth at home. Because it could get messy, it could get, and sometimes people aren't expecting it. Even to, like, I have a 15-year-old, so starting to teach that as part of like a rites of passage. Like, this is part of your moon cycle, or this could be part of, as you're teaching them, when you meet that person, when you go ahead and, all those kinds of things, that needs to be part of it too. Like, we need to know, because I was like, wow, nobody didn't ever teach me this. Even the stuff that I learned about, again, the pregnancy and the children who came into this realm, I learned it like by doing it. We have lost those rites of passage, women's circles that, will be teaching us at 16, 17, 18, what we're supposed to do when this happens. And so even in Welcome in Spirit Home, she talks about it. She talk about, it's a ritual for it. It's a whole ritual. Like, sometimes it's special waist beads that you get if you had a sunset birth and then you're going to want to conceive again. It's one that you see what I'm saying? So it's like, if our ancestors have rituals for this, this is part of the process. And so, yeah, that's what I would say. Like, we got to keep educating. We got to keep bringing these things into, the know for our children so they know. Because if we don't teach it to them, how they gonna know? Are they gonna get it off of TikTok? I don't know. So
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, everything ain't on TikTok.
Everything ain't on TikTok. But I 100% agree. So the good thing is that, there are some resources, some books that she recommends. So definitely go follow her so that you all can see what she's doing. And then all the amazing work you're doing with the lactating and breastfeeding community, I think is amazing. And we'll be on the lookout for your podcast. And just let me know when you want me to come on. I'm always open to come and share my story. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing your sunset experiences. I hope that we all reframe the word of loss. I think it's a great opportunity for us to do that as a result of this episode. So thank you so much again.
And thank you for having me and allowing me to share in such a candid way that I have. I really appreciate it, and I'm really thankful for it, and for the work that you do, for the impact that you're having. So I just I affirm that I'm able to just slip a little bit in there, and that whoever will hear these messages will be attracted to however we should, synergize together. So, I'll share the whole thing, and I'll share what you said, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I'm honored that you allow me to hold this space for you, and we will ashe together.
Oh, that's what's up. All right.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. For show notes, go to sistersinloss.com. To stay connected with us and join the Sisters in Loss community and receive my weekly newsletter, please go to sistersinloss.com/newsletter. That is sistersinloss.com/newsletter. Please rate and review this episode, and I will talk to you next week.
Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
You look great. What have you been doing?
I found Zelthy. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe the same active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s for 80 to 90% less without insurance. All of mine shipped right to your door.
Get started with Zelthy today for just $39. Call pound 250 and say keyword CARE. That's CARE to pound 250.
If you're running a retail business, don't let disorganized order fulfillment cause chaos. Use ShipStation instead. From running a business out of your garage to multiple warehouses, ShipStation is ideal for every phase of your growth. Save time with one login for all your stores and by automating tasks. Plus, you'll get the best shipping rates from global carriers. Calm the chaos with the shipping software that delivers. Start a free trial at shipstation.com/audio. That's shipstation.com/audio.